Hello and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor video. This time it is going to be the story that leads us into the expansion, and this was covered by Chris Metzen at the initial World of Warcraft panel. And I can rather proudly say that one of my videos actually essentially called this, so yay, go me. But anyway, enough of me and more World of Warcraft. So, after the Siege of Orgrimmar, Garrosh was taken away in chains, as we know. And they actually said there's going to be a book out to explain the events that happened surrounding the trial, his escape, and that kind of thing. And, so yeah, he actually escapes, and this seems to be via a new friend with unique time-bending abilities, which sounds like Kairos, who is one of the characters on the Timeless Isles. Now, an interesting thing is that we are actually shown a vision of Anduin and Rin opening the jail cell, which lets him out, so perhaps Anduin is manipulated by Rathian or Kairos, or something like that, and that's what leads to Garrosh getting out. But he goes back in time via this friend of his, and the reason he wants to go back in time is because he hates the New Horde. They are full of mongrel races that are not up to his standards of being a good, honourable orc that values conquest, power, strength, and honour. So he is not down with this, and he hates what Thrall stood for, he hates what Thrall turned the Horde into. So he's went back to old Draenor, and this is a time where the world made sense to him. There was clans under different war chiefs, they were all sort of in semi-alliances, and they were a very warlike species. Now, overarchingly, what Garrosh wants to do is redeem the honour of orcs and sort of reinvigorate the ideals which he sees in his people. Now, remember that he grew up in Nagrand, and he was always hearing about the stories of the First Horde and all of their leaders like Rend, Blackhand, and stuff like that. And he wants them to be proud conquerors again, but critically, without the blood of Manaroth. What he wants to do is stop them from drinking the blood of Manaroth, and therefore making them uncursed and unlegioned, so they're not part of the Burning Legion. He will then try to convince the different leaders that they should form a horde because there's conquering to be done. There's this world called Azeroth, he's came from there. He tells them that perhaps, the orcs in the future they're not what our race should be. So he tries to band together and create the Iron Horde, and this Iron Horde is empowered with the current day's technology. A little bit of a thing is that the Blackrock clan of orcs on the, I think it's Blackrock, one of them anyway, what they do is they are the smiths, and Garrosh brings forward all this current day technology, or at least the schematics for it, and these smiths are able to recreate some of the technologies that we faced in the Siege of Orgrimmar. So Garrosh wants to build a different horde from the first one, but with the same mission of conquering Azeroth and enacting vengeance upon us, but in a way that restores in his mind honor to his people. And he has built he's had his time-bending friend essentially build a dark portal, or at least fire off the dark portal. And what the thing that his friend, which is probably Kairos by the way, needs to do is align the dark portal in time so that it comes to current day us. And most of the expansion will happen in this fully realized old world of Draenor. And do not worry, it is not another end Hellscream boss. Garrosh facilitates the story, but is not the main boss. He ain't the guy. Now, the end boss, they also said, will not be an orc, so take that as we will. Now, what's quite interesting, at the end, Metzen went through a lot of thinking, you could see him thinking it over his head, and he basically caved and said that the end may not be what we're thinking, and they are in a space currently where they're thinking very far ahead with the game, and that the end of this expansion will escalate into future expansions, and it seems like they really are setting one grand story. It seemed to be previously that from expansion to expansion, we jumped from place to place, story to story, and there wasn't a lot of continuity. It seems like they are just going full on, one giant overarching story. I suppose a lot of people had issues with the way the lore was so banded, and every expansion would just randomly pick one lore thing and explore it. Well, maybe they're going to at least start off on some old RTS lore, and then build this into its own story, so World of Warcraft, from a story perspective, I suppose feels better. So that's pretty damn cool, isn't it? Now, in terms of how we get there, initially, well, what's going to happen is that we are sent through, as players, in a suicide mission to close the Dark Portal, or at least do something to stem this Iron Horde. And of course, while it is a suicide mission, I'm sure that we will be fine. And what will happen from there is that we start to secure footholds, deal damage to the Iron Horde, and from there, we just don't know. I will have videos in the future about the different dungeons, raids, features, etc. So do be sure to stay tuned to the channel, where I will have this all in exhaustive detail. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.